Welcome to another episode of Mastering La Vida. Today we have a very special guest with us. She is a certified personal trainer, X-Body EMS master trainer, a bikini competitor, and the founder of New Wave Fit. Her name is Mayra Kennedy, and she happens to be my cousin, actually, my favorite cousin. She is visiting from Houston, Texas during a long vacation, which we're happy to have her over. We grew up together in Panama. However, she moved to the States around 30 years ago. She is a U.S. Army veteran, and she is here to teach us and guide us a little bit of the whole new era of working out. Welcome to Mastering La Vida, Mayra.
Welcome to me, yes, to Italy.
Yay. All that pasta.
Pasta, pizza,
Gelato.
carb land.
Carb land.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely fun times. We're being here. You've been here almost 30
Almost
days.
the month.
Yeah.
Yes, I am now half carb, half Italian.
I know. And that's the whole Italian way, right? We're doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
With the gelato every night.
Yes, a gelato is a must when you are vacationing in Italy. It just makes you happy.
I know. We're all very excited to have you over. You and your beautiful family.
Thank you.
Been having a wonderful time in Italy. We've been everywhere.
Thank you for hosting all of us and just creating awesome memories during this awesome vacation.
So let's get into business now because we have a lot to talk.
Yes.
Also, during your visit, I know that we've been eating more healthy some of the days because, I like healthy, but my healthy cook doesn't taste as good as yours, for sure.
Healthy is actually as simple as you can get it because you can enjoy the flavor and the advantage that you have by being here in this awesome area of farmland. Everything tastes so great. Yeah. It's just the flavors of like tomatoes. You do not find tomatoes like that in Houston. You do not find eggplant that is so delicious just anywhere. Same thing with the zucchini. I mean, the produce are just amazing. I'm going crazy over it.
They're very organic and very cheap compared to what organic looks like in the States.
Yes. And I think
prices.
Organic here, they don't even label anything as organic because it's just all within, I don't know, a 25-mile range or even 50-mile range. Some of the produce that they have in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And it's been great. We've been eating, besides eating in restaurants,
yes.
When we actually cook at the house, it's been really good food, like very tasteful.
Yeah, but even the restaurants, you can tell that it's not massive produced, ultra processed.
Those raviolis.
Yes.
Were delicious.
They were very good. They're probably made by the grandma in the back, you know? They're just like old recipes and just kind of as simple as it gets.
That is true. Now let's talk a little bit about you because you are certified in a bunch of certifications. But besides that, I know that you are very oriented into the healthy world, into changing one person at a time, because I have experienced that. You have sent me in tremendous amount of times food, that recipes, things that I can do to change my diet. Let's talk about how did you get into this world?
Well, during my college years at the University of Houston, I studied journalism, and you basically have to research anything that you're going to write about. And I love doing that just by nature. I got to study how food or the FDA allows certain foods to be processed and handled. Not the cleanest way for many things that we consume on a daily basis. However, I did a story about how they process cattle, chickens, the farming industry. It's not ideal how they inject certain things to some of the animals that they're selling to the consumer. And I was a little worried about it, and I decided to make a few changes on my own diet. That's when I decided to become pescatarian vegetarian.
What's the difference?
That means that you do get some protein sources from fish, which you do have to be careful with the mercury that some of the fish are exposed to, where they come from. And I felt it was a little bit easier to control that because I didn't eat fish every single day, but I did have the option of consuming some of the healthy proteins that are out there.
That's great. And during that process, because you were in the military as well, during
Yes.
that time.
During that time, I found it very easy to actually eat. A lot of people make it complicated, but trying to eat, legumes, black beans, lentils, garbanzo beans, eating your greens with it. It wasn't a difficult transition. I cannot stop eating cheese. That's why I can't become vegan because
Yeah.
I do eat obviously cheese and some eggs. But I just started experimenting with different recipes that didn't require a lot of work to do, which sometimes whenever people think of changing their diet, that everything is going to change. But actually, when you do eat a little bit cleaner, it's actually a little bit easier because you can go from like
Less things
eating
to
just
add. Yeah.
basically, lettuce and tomatoes and cucumbers. That used to be the salad back in the day for us. But then adding some legumes or adding a little bit of tuna or adding some cheese and adding some nuts and things like that, you add more macronutrients, which people get a little bit confused. Like, what is the ratio? What's the perfect ratio? It's really what works for you, as long as it's not processed or as processed as you would eat in the past. But, just switching a few things that you eat on a regular basis makes a big impact on your body.
And it's mostly about changing that mentality, because I think back in the day when you think about diet, it was like, I have to eat lettuce all day. I cannot
Yeah.
really do that.
Yeah, and in our family,
Yeah.
especially if you switch your diet, it doesn't mean that you can't eat rice or you can't eat your tortilla here and then, but it's in moderation and just kind of indulge whenever you want to, but then try to keep things as clean as you can. So if you eat 3 meals a day, make at least one, whichever one you want, your dinner or your breakfast, the healthiest one that you can get, because it'll fuel your day or it'll help you with sleeping, recovering from training, or even just a long day of work.
Now let's talk a little bit about the X body. Can you explain the listeners what exactly is the X body and the EMS? Because I know some people will be like, what are they talking about?
Yes. So X Body is actually the name of the company of the small franchise that I am a part of. It's an awesome team. It's basically technology and fitness and health. X Body uses a product which is electric muscle stimulation. It's a suit that stimulates about 20 or between 12 and 20 muscle groups, depending on what the person that is using it for. It is not a everybody is the same. You can put the suit on and stimulate all of your muscles laying down if you have any health conditions that prevent you from moving a lot, if you have arthritis, if you have, a lot of aches and pains, but you want to be able to stimulate the muscle. And really that's where the technology part of the suit comes in.
And when you say stimulate, it's just like sending signals to the muscle. Say,
Yes.
hey, wake up.
So it is a contraction to the muscle, which every time you move, you send an electric wave so that you can, use your forearm or use your biceps or using your quadricep muscles, your leg muscles to sit down. That is sending a signal to the muscles for movement.
Okay. I happened to try the suit one time that I visited you in Houston. And I remember feeling like vibration in my body. And I was like, what is going on? I did feel a difference, like on the way you regularly work out into actually using the suit. There was a certain level of progression in a faster way.
Absolutely. So conventional weight training, you do have to do a number of reps before you actually feel the contraction in the muscle. If you're not grabbing the enough weight to stimulate the muscle, you're basically just making a movement. That's why sometimes people say, oh, you know what? I work my biceps, but I don't really feel like I worked out my biceps. It's just because you're not making the contraction deep enough. With the suit, as you're moving, you can increase the electrical stimulation to the point that you do feel like you're in rep 10 instead of rep 2 or 3 before you actually decide, maybe I should grab a heavier weight instead of just sticking to the 5-pound that you always grab to do the same exercise, which most people do. You get comfortable. You're like, okay, I don't want to move. I like this because I feel like I'm moving it, but you could go always a little bit more. So with the suit, you can go a little bit more or a lot more depending on what your goal is.
But besides the suit, you also provide food to your clients.
Yes. So I do nutrition consultation, just because it can't get confusing whenever someone wants to become healthy. They think that they have to switch other stuff or everything that they eat. But I always tell them to start with smaller things that they know for sure that if they're drinking sodas or like, eating donuts as a reward for, leg day. Hey, let's switch that for a nice, protein shake or, switching your soda for a carbonated drink with some flavor. So yes, I do nutrition consulting.
That's very nice. Do you think that you can see, because that will be a question people like, how long will it take to see results? That's the number one question people are going to ask whenever they join any gym, any program, any diet. They're like, how long do I have to do this to see the results?
Yes, absolutely. Hey, I do the exact same thing. I get on a program and I want to see changes. The minute I put the weights down, I said, can you see it?
Yeah.
Can I see the muscle? But I think that there is a combination between the muscle stimulation and the mental aspect of training. I think that for the electric muscle stimulation or the EMS training, you feel it the day that you're training. I have people that have not trained for a long time. They want to do something different. The suit is going to be something different that they're doing at the time. Using technology that we have available to improve your health, you're going to notice it immediately with the stimulation of your circulation. If you don't move and you're starting at a lower level of the electric muscle stimulation, as you move, we progress, we go up a little bit more, you notice that you can squat deeper. You notice that you can lunge better. You notice that you're standing up straight. You're focusing on your posture. I think that's improvement right there, because if you haven't exercised and you're not using the suit, your limitations. But with the suit, whenever you're trying to test it, you're like, oh, you know what? I can actually, my third squat, I can go lower, or I can actually do more jumping jacks, and I feel it within 30 seconds that I'm actually getting my heart rate to be at an optimal level, instead of like, oh gosh, I have to jump squats or I have to, jog in place for 30 seconds. It's going to be, you actually do feel right away that your body is working with you instead of against you.
What are the age range between your clients?
Gosh, I think my youngest client using EMS is 15. She's using it for performance. And my oldest client that has tried it is 82.
Wow.
He's doing it for arthritis and circulation stimulation. Not everybody trains the same, and that's what the advantage of using the suit. For an older person or a person that has some health issues such as arthritis, or like they've had back surgery and things like that, they can actually use the suit for the first 5 minutes to stimulate some of the circulation. And we do some stretches until the point that they feel like their body's moving much better. Like when you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel it somewhere. They actually do move a little bit better. And then we start the training. So they may not start training like the 15-year-old. As soon as we put on the suits, she wants to go, 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 go. I mean, she's an athlete. Yeah. However, for my older person, they put on the suit and they start to move. They start to do their stretches, but they're using the stimulation for their advantage, not just for fitness.
One of the things we were talking about was that the difference between some parts of the world where you see more movement in 80 years old. For example, here in Italy, we see people 80 years old still driving their bicycles, still going walking, still doing all these things. So it is so important to keep that movement even at an older age.
Absolutely.
And your clients are a perfect example of that. What are their reactions towards the program that they're doing with you right now?
Well, the big difference between here in Italy is that people have their routine. They get up in the morning and they go out for their coffee. They'll go out to get fresh bread. They'll go and get fresh produce every day. So that's 3 times that they have to walk to go to the grocery store. In the States, I have people that tell me, what can I do to stay active and moving? I know that in the States, it's not ideal for everybody to go out in their neighborhood and go walk around the block, but walking around the block is actually a great idea. And I have a few people that have switched a few things such as walking around the block, after you eat so you can regulate your blood sugar levels, which we can talk a little bit
Yeah.
about that. Just help your metabolism to digest your food. If you know that you ate a little bit too much, which we all do in the States, it's easy to do. Just go for a quick walk the dog, or walk with your neighbor as they walk the dog, or, walk to get the newspaper, or drop off a mailbox, go out for just any movement. There is a place that even you have to drive a little bit and then go for a walk. There are many places like that everywhere in the state.
Do you think EMS or the X body is better than going to the gym?
Absolutely.
And the reason is?
The reason for that is that when you have a personal trainer, for the most part, you have to put on your clothes, get in your car, drive to the gym, find a good trainer that you can trust, that they know what they're doing. I think that with electric muscle stimulation, whether it's X body or just electricity stimulation in general, those trainers come to you. They cater to the person, the individual. They come to your house. Some of the places you can go to a studio if you want to get out of the house, depending on what you're trying to achieve. If you have some health issues that, you have to work on, back problems, stiff back or a stiff hip, most of us do go and cater to you. We come to you, we bring the suits, you schedule your time, you're at your home. I train people at 5 o'clock in the morning. I train people at 7 o'clock at night.
She doesn't sleep.
Yes, I don't need to sleep much. But it is a way to get you back to moving. It's not a forever, hey, this is the only thing that works for me, therefore everything else doesn't work, because I'm a big advocate of doing different things, not just sticking to the weight training room, not sticking to the, hey, I want to lose weight all the time, or I want to gain muscle all the time. I think there's cycles of doing exercises that variety is better, because then you don't get stuck to the one thing. But the advantage of the suit is that you can do everything with the suit. You can start with mobility work, then you can go with strength training, you can go with cardiovascular endurance, you can go with bodybuilding, you can do yoga with the suit. You can do pretty much, we have some MMA fighters. They have used the product because they're all out hardcore. And I don't know if the suit is actually going to push you. And I'm telling you, within 5 minutes, you can get it up to the point of the endurance of the actual athlete or the person. And they can be like, oh my God, I am spent. And it's only been 5 minutes. So I think the suit has a lot of things to offer instead of just one thing that you can stick to.
And with all that you're saying, and it's really stimulating the brain as well, because once you try different things, you're telling your brain to wake up and try something different, which is
that's right.
perfect.
I've had people that train, and they said that I train all the time, but guess what? They don't train their legs. They just train their upper body. And then all of a sudden they find that their body from the waist down is actually talking to them. It's like, hey, I can actually feel my quads working, my glutes working. So it is a way to stimulate your body. You feel it right away. You're like, okay, I have never felt a muscle contraction in my glutes. It's a very hard muscle to engage, because you do need to load it with a lot of weight. And some people are not comfortable just, going and grabbing something that is too heavy.
And you can also injure yourself.
Absolutely.
Many people go to the gym and they don't have a personal trainer because they don't want to pay for the personal trainer. And they end up getting injured. Because they're doing their exercise.
And they don't have a spotter either to help them, lift up heavier weights. Anytime that you engage your legs, you do need to make sure that you're aware that you can hurt your back if you're not doing it with the right posture. With a suit, there is nothing. You can use a band just so that you can feel like you're holding on to something, but you don't have to use anything if you don't want to. But it just depends on the level of the person, but it does the work.
Is there any side effects?
Muscle soreness, which for some people like myself, I feel like if I don't have the muscle soreness, I'm going to go back to the gym and I'm going to hit that same muscle again until I feel like I do the contractions. I tell people, whenever you train with EMS, you don't feel the soreness, obviously, just like you do with conventional weight training that same day, but wait until you wake up the next day. And if it's a muscle that you have not engaged that much or never, you will feel it, and you will have to wait until that muscle is not as tight. It's kind of common sense. Your have to repair the muscle, but sometimes people have that soreness and they want to train again, and that's really not optimal.
So do you think is it useful to be used every day, or how do you arrange the time and days for each person?
Right. So, electric muscle stimulation, because you are working with electricity and it works the muscle not just in the superficial level, but it goes in much deeper, almost to the bone level to do this circulation stimulation. It is only recommended twice a week.
Okay.
So, if you do it on a Monday, assess Tuesday and Wednesday to see how you feel. You may be able to do it again on Thursday, or you may have to wait until Friday, because the idea is not that you are so sore that you cannot move and then you train again. However, I do have people that train twice a week. The first session that they do, let's say on a Monday, they focus more on the weight training. And then their next session, they focus a little bit more on the cardiovascular. So it's not like every time that you train with it, you have to train like you're training a bodybuilder or you just training muscle. You can do flexibility training one day, you can do resistance training one day, you can do mobility work, you can do, just isolation of muscles. And, it just works much better when you switch up what you're doing.
Where do you find the X body? Where were you doing? And were you like, you watched someone, or you were like, oh, I want to go try that?
Oh, God, that's a funny story. I went to Barcelona, Spain with my family. As you know, we like to take our vacations. We were there for a month. My son was 2 years old at the time, and I had a hip injury and I could not get over recovery. This was an injury from childbirth. Whenever I had him, I had some damage to my hip. And, conventional doctors, they tell you just don't use your hip, which is, of course, not ideal. I don't recommend that for anybody. Movement for an injury is actually the best cure for it, at least in my opinion. So I was walking down this shopping center and I found this little tiny door that had the picture of the X body and it said gym. And of course, immediately I was like, oh my God, this is what I need. I went in and the guy told me, yeah, we work with electric muscle stimulation. Like it's something that everybody knows. Yeah. And I said, oh, electricity? I want to try it. And he said, yeah, we can schedule you for an appointment. And the first session is just really an assessment to see if you like it or not. Not everybody likes the muscle stimulation like the suit can provide. And so I arranged for a date night with my husband. And I said, I want to do it, but I want to do it with him. I told him, hey, bring clothes because they said that we're going to get wet or you don't want to get your clothes wet. And he was like, what? What kind of date is this? I show up at the place and they have the suit and the cables and the balls. It's like, am I going to bite into the ball because they're going to electrocute me? I'm like, no, it's nothing like that. It's supposed to be for training. And we both change into the clothes that you wear before you put on the suit. So the suit is not touching your skin. It's actually touching like a spandex leggings, clothes that is meant for the electricity. The suit actually gets wet because the water conducts electricity. So you do get a little bit of the coldness from the water, which actually feels really nice. And so he's like, you're crazy. This is date night for you. We're going to be like torture here. And the minute that we started training, it was such an amazing sensation for me, at least, since I had not trained muscles in a while. Because of my hip, I was able to do some squats. The first few were challenging, but like the third one, I could do it. The fourth one, I could do it. And I was just like, oh my God. So they make you do like a yoga pose, chair pose. Mm-hmm. It's just holding it and you feel the contractions and they can go up if you want to. And of course I was like, yeah, crank that thing up. And then the next day, both of us were like so sore. Like, oh my God, I found my thing. Of course, I go back to the US and FDA has not approved the X body. So I actually had to wait 6 years before I could actually purchase the equipment. Wow. But I stayed in touch with most of the people that work with the company that were trying to get the product introduced to the US. And lucky enough, I was able to do some of my training, some of my homework, some of my reading on how to train with it because I was so dying to get my hands on that machine. Yes, but it's an awesome tool.
And it's been an awesome adventure for you.
I've used it for my preps during my competitions. I love bodybuilding. I love to transform my body and how to help other people transform their bodies. Not always in the bodybuilding industry, but transform in the way that they can actually move. When you move, you almost don't feel like you have to worry about the scale because you can move to do whatever you want, whether it's running, whether it's biking, just doing
You have the
yoga.
energy.
You have the
Yeah.
energy. It doesn't matter. It's like that mobility, as you get older, you may lose range of motion. You may have a little tear in a shoulder, which is very common. I have one, but I do take care of it with the suit. I mean, there's so many things that you can do just to stay healthy and not have to be like, oh, I cannot go for a run because I have a hip injury. I can run as much as I want as long as I don't go past the mileage that I should do. Because then it is like, oh, okay, I'm a little sore.
Let's get a little more personal.
Uh-oh.
I know you meal prep, you eat healthy. I know it. I see it. I know you enjoy making delicious, healthy meals, which I like having her here because I get to eat all that. And I've seen how you take care of your family. But what is the hardest part for starting that healthy life? Like if you could tell someone like, look, this is how you do it.
I think the hardest part is when you make an announcement that you're going to make everybody eat healthy. If you want to be kicked out of someone's house, then that's how you say, hey, we're going to eat healthy for dinner, healthy pasta. They think green pasta, they think no. I think that once you show people or let them taste food that actually tastes good, people tend to be a little bit more open about eating healthy, because eating healthy does not mean you have to eat protein powder that is synthetic, that is awful. There's so many different options. Nowadays, there's so many more options of healthier, tastier shakes if you want to do a protein shake. However, when you eat fresh, it's like, and you make certain combinations of things that are just delicious naturally, then people are a little bit more open. I think that, since my kids were little, I've been doing, healthy muffins, healthy pancakes. You can make anything in the shape of a chicken nugget and they will eat it. And just kind of teaching them, like, I don't even say like, hey, this is healthy food for you.
Yeah. Because you're going to scare them
It's
away.
more like, hey, this is what's for dinner.
Yeah.
My meal preps for whenever I train for a competition are not any different than what they eat on a regular basis. The only thing is that I do the portions of what I should be eating, and they get to eat all the food that they want. Well, I only have to eat 4 ounces of this and 6 ounces of that and tons of vegetables. Vegetables are always a freebie. They're unlimited. So I don't even count.
Like, you're never hungry.
Yeah, I'm never hungry. Well, I'm hungry because I'm always working and training, but not hungry because I limit my foods. There's no need to limit, vegetables and things that have nutrition in it.
It is a little hard for, like, especially our family, talking about you and me, because we come from the same family. And you know how our moms cook.
Yes.
Lots of beans, rice, carne guisada, porotos, tajada. You know it, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard once you try to switch that, especially with them living with us, because for me, what works is I let my mom, like, one day of the week, I'll be like, cook whatever you want, make us happy, because I like it, like, I enjoy it, but I know that I cannot be eating like that every day. So it is what it is,
Yeah.
You're gonna love the food because you grew up with that. It just brings nice memories from your childhood, like eating some hojaldra, some fried bread, which is basically that.
Yeah.
But I think everything in small portions, one day of the week.
Yeah. But you know what? It's also good to teach them as well, because, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure are certain things that you can't escape, even if you just eat it once a week. If you've been eating unhealthy, or you've been eating something that your body can no longer process, or your body doesn't, digest the same, or your metabolism is not the same.
That is true.
It is important to teach them that, hey, it's not that you cannot eat the things that you like. It's just that maybe there's a different way that you can cook them, like with the oil we talked about, olive oil instead of vegetable oil. The differences in the health benefits of the olive oil, coconut oil, or even avocado oil. I love. That's some of the things that Yes, we do have, even though they like to cook certain things that we shouldn't eat. I let my mom cook also, not once a week, but maybe once a month, or unless I'm really, really busy. But just to teach her, hey, you know what? Instead of using oil when you're cooking meat, maybe you can substitute for this or that. She doesn't like it, but she doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, but you know how they are. It's really hard to change sometimes people's mentality or the way they've been cooking their whole life.
Yeah.
And you come up with these new ideas and they're like rejection.
Oh,
and their mind is like, what are they doing?
My mother has said, I don't know what I did that you're eating different and that you like so many vegetables and
that is so bad.
And you don't eat meat. I haven't had red meat in like 20 years or something like that. And she's like, I have no idea why you do that. I'm like, I never even liked it when I was little.
When you were little. Yeah.
I already knew I did not like. I don't have anything against people that eat meat. It's just I didn't like the flavor. Like some people don't like onions, and they like all their life they don't like onions, even though you can cook onions in different ways, and it's actually very tasty. Yeah. It's just a different way of eating, right?
And I love it. I love that our conversation is turning into an educational part of our motivate us as well. But what motivates you? What keeps you going every day when you wake up at 3 a.m.?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question. My motivation is my family, really, to be honest with you. My clients as well.
And we have her daughter right here.
Yeah,
sitting
Sophia
next
is
to
right
She's
here.
right here.
Listening to everything silly that I'm saying. But hopefully in the long run, she will remember, hey, moderation, vegetables, clean eating, no high process. Although she loves
less Skittles,
less Skittles and donuts. That's her jam, as she says. But yeah, I mean, I feel whenever I eat healthy, I just feel great. It doesn't mean that I'm in a deficit for whatever food. I just love food, good food, and so I try to send that message to the kids instead of like, oh, what is this green thing? And I send that same message to my clients. I mean, the difference that it makes when you eat something that your body loves, how you feel about it, instead of eating something that is heavy and is empty and you crash, your body is telling you it doesn't like it. But when you do eat something that your body gives you the energy for, whatever type of work that you do, or if you're out working in the garden like your mom, it just makes such a big difference that I like that feeling. I don't like the feeling where I feel like, oh my God, I'm stuffed. I'm going to have to go for a run. And I do tell my clients, hey, after we have an awesome training session, a good healthy source of protein with some vegetables, some good healthy fats, avocado or like nuts. Who's going to say no to like things like that? No one. And it just makes you feel so good. Like it makes you like you're fueling your body, just not to increase your muscles, but just like be healthy inside as well as it is outside. So,
and it helps also that your husband, he's a triathlon.
He's an
athlete.
He's
right?
a crazy triathlete. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So it helps that he's as active as you are.
Absolutely. Because, he's tearing up the muscles. I say he's a full-time triathlete and a part-time lawyer more and more. It's just because you need that fuel, you need to recover, not just the muscle part of it, but just to have the energy to deal with the kids, to do the work, to go bike, to go run, to go, just do all.
And he's very active with the kids as well. I actually admire that a lot when I see fathers trying and doing their best to keep up with their kids, and he's nonstop.
Yeah, he is nonstop. I have to keep up with them. That's why I think I train as much as I do.
Yeah, but you guys are perfect for each other. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Are there any other messages you would like to send to everyone listening today?
Absolutely. I think that my number one message to everybody that I train, that I meet, there is never a too late to start to do something, whether it's with your food, whether it's with mobility, movement, training. Don't label it as I'm going to start a big thing. Just make a small change every day if you can. If you know that you drink a lot of coffee and you want to switch it, don't just drop the coffee. Drink your coffee, but experiment with some tea, cold tea.
Matcha.
Matcha. Ooh, we love matcha. Or a turmeric latte. Try different things that you know that will have some type of health benefit. And psychologically, that will help you to be like, you know what? Maybe I didn't eat perfect, but I had a little bit of green tea instead of just 8 cups of coffee a day. I had a little bit more water. Sometimes we want to change everything to
at
be
the same
healthy.
time.
Yeah. And it's
all
like
at once.
giving up everything that you like and you love. But then there's like, hey, I have to give up gelato. Then I would be like, I'm no longer a trainer anymore.
Yeah.
So whenever we give that whole, I'm going to change my entire life and I'm going to do everything, we won't stick to it for very long.
Stick for a week and then go back to our whole old habits.
Or there are people that do it and they're miserable and they're like, wow, this is what it takes to be healthy. But in reality, it's just, small steps and you'll get to a balance that you like that works for you. And it just makes you feel better.
I was like telling my husband, a Filipino, you cannot eat rice anymore. That's like, I'm miserable. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But, there are a lot of hacks that you can do. You can Google, you can Pinterest, you can search any hack that you want to. My favorite hack is that if you eat a heavy meal for dinner, is to go for a walk to level off your glucose. I have learned that with my levels glucose monitor. Certain things that we eat, and we know that when we're not burning glucose, which is just basically sugar before it's turned into fat, your body just doesn't know what to do with all the extra energy. It's just going to store it and save it for tomorrow, but it turns it into a fat. So I eat something that my glucose goes up. I'm like, oh, I know that's going to my thighs.
So you are monitoring your glucose through this patch. You guys can't see it because it's voice, but she wears a patch and she monitors.
Yeah, I monitor my glucose levels because as you get older, you can't be a little bit more sensitive to some of the carbohydrates that we eat, especially if they're processed. There are healthy ranges of glucose levels, and that's my goal really, to maintain a healthy glucose spike after you eat. Every time that you eat something, you will spike your insulin. However, it does not have to go from the normal range to like crazy, super high. When you have a super high spike, you feel it in your body because you will crash. You will have that feeling that you get sleepy, you get slow, and you think, I just had 1,000 calories and I cannot function. I need a coffee, or I need, a little pick me up. And you just ate enough calories for like half of your day.
So, and as an example, is that day that we ate the gelato and you were monitoring your glucose, and we went out for a hike and we end up in the castle.
it didn't do much to my glucose because even though I was eating it after I ate a decent meal, I was moving the entire time. So basically my body is using whatever I'm eating at the time for fuel. It's going to use whatever I'm eating or whatever, just the first thing that I ate that is spiked the glucose before it taps into any store fat. But that's a good way to monitor when you're, tracking what you're eating and your glucose.
And I see this, I don't know if it's all Europe, but I see it in Italy a lot. Like there's people who have a dinner and after that you see them walking.
Yep. Yeah. That's actually a really good way to digest your food, level off that sugar spike if you had a little, sweet after you ate your dinner, or if you had a lot of bread, pasta, pizza, and all of those things that can spike you very high. That's Sophia right there.
Yeah, she's hiding. We're looking at you.
Yeah, of course. It's like, who doesn't eat in Italy bread, then pasta, then dessert? A tiramisu, right, Sophia?
Totally. Well, I want to thank you so much for this interview. I know this is going to be so helpful for so many people listening. And if they want to contact you, if they have any questions, if they want to try, if you're in Houston, if you're listening, if you're anywhere, you can contact her directly. What is your contact information for Instagram?
The best way is through Instagram, and it's MK Gym Fabulous, but MK Gym Fab. That's the abbreviation. You can send me a DM if you have any questions, or if you want to make a little change. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to help anybody.
And we will attach all the information to the podcast so you guys can see it as well. Stay tuned for our next episode, and thank you for coming.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.